have dinner. But it's not dinner and then Netflix and then movies all night long and coming back to the office at 8 and having no concern in between.
No.
So, we had a little kind of an event last night. We took you to Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse.
Oh, Jeff Ruby, man.
Do you even remember what that was like? Because you were losing your mind over a fantasy semifinal matchup.
No. But
are you okay?
It's when you're competitive like I am, man, and you're playing fantasy football. It comes down. I mean, you've played 15 weeks, all for the last, and it came down to Steelers defense against Cincinnati's offense, and I thought, dude, that's no brainer. I won, and Steelers lay an egg. Your Bengals came out looking like champs, and hey, you and I were watching. If Juju catches a ball at the end, one ball, I'm done. If the Bengals score another point, if that was a touchdown set field, I'm done. So yeah, that was tough, man.
I just didn't know if you were going to make. I didn't know if you were going to make it through the night. I think I had a moment. I was like, "Hey, did you bring your heart medicine?"
I'm telling you, I almost needed it, man. Thank God we were drinking. So,
how many times do you remember? How many times you got up? So we were sitting in the. We found a little. I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant because COVID times or the hotel, but we were in the hotel lobby.
Yep.
How many times did you get up from the chair and walk to the bar where nobody's at to get in front of the TV? How many times?
A dozen, man, at least, man. I was losing my mind. Sat back down.
Hey, did you win?
I could make a difference if I got up.
Did you win?
I won, baby.
By how many points?
By two, man. Two.
The semifinal.
Semifinals, baby. Willie Beeman's in the finals. Woo! I loved it.
Beeman.
I love it. The Miami Sharks.
What about that steak last night from Jeff Ruby's?
Dude, I've eaten, I've been blessed. I've eaten at Burns Steakhouse in Tampa, you name it. St. Elmo's right here in the Midwest. That was as good a steak as I have ever had. And I told you, next time I will leave the crust off of it, let the steak taste. But I'm telling you, the potatoes, I think it's like Potato Anna or whatever her name is. What a great potato. Dude, hey, I should order half a salad. I only ate half my salad.
That is almost.
What was that? The King?
No.
What
that was called the Freddy.
The Freddy. Oh, yeah. The Freddy.
No tomatoes. You ruined it by no tomatoes.
No tomatoes on the Freddy.
But you only ate half the salad. That is.
I'll know next time. I'm not a full salad guy. I'm a half a salad guy.
But it was good. That bacon.
It was good.
The bacon on it.
Good salad. Good food. Appreciate it.
It was really good.
Yep.
So, what they say, that dry rub steak sits there for 20-something days.
Yeah, dude. It was good. I'll be back.
So, talking about life's experiences, we left off yesterday to come back for some more today. You talked about Lou Brock's your man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your signed jersey and all the cards. And you talked about a moment when he said, hey, do you want to come out to the College World Series?
Yep.
And at LIDS, it was a huge event where you would go out there for, what was it, a week long or 2 weeks?
Yeah. Week, 10 days.
Right. And so he said, hey, when you come out here, come see me or come to the event. So take us from there.
Sure.
Right?
I mean,
and then what happened with the relationship with him?
I mean, conversation was just, I've gotten to do so many cool things, right? And you think back and you go, I don't know if I can name one moment, but when I came, to Cincinnati for that 25-year anniversary and met Lou, the cool thing is you're with a guy for 4.5, 5 hours on a golf course, and then we went out to eat dinner that night with those guys and hung out at the old Riverfront Stadium, and he goes, Glenn, man, you're going to be at the College World Series. I'm going there next week. And I think Bob Gibson is from Omaha, so he's an Omaha, Nebraska guy. And so I said, yeah, I'm going to be out there. We're setting up our tents. We're going to be doing some business out there. But he goes, come the night before. It's going to be the home run hitting contest. I'm going to be up some club. Here's the invitation. So I get there. I got the invitation. I walk up there, and I walk into the room, and Lou greets me. It was awesome. Reggie Jackson is sitting there, Mr. October is sitting there with all the people getting ready to hit home, the home run hitting contest. And these kids are just around him like, little kids in Santa Claus, just, looking at him and, listening to everything he says.
He's baseball Jesus.
Basically, he is, as far as hitters go, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got Bob Gibson, who's Mr. Cardinal himself, and then Ted Sizemore, who's with Rawlings at the time. Rawlings put this little thing on. So I'm sitting there in a room with Lou, Bob Gibson, Reggie Jackson, and Ted Sizemore. Unbelievable. So I'm a kid in a candy shop. I got a beer, and I'm just sitting back listening to what's going on. And then Lou goes, hey, you want to have some dinner? And so we go in this little room, and it's just those four and me. And Lou's sitting next to me, and he says, hey, man, you got your invitation there. You want us to sign it? He goes, I'll sign it, and I'll pass it around the room. I go, sure, Lou, if if the guys don't mind, right? Goes around the table, and Lou is right next to me, and Bob's right across from me. And it's not a big table; it's probably about where we're at, a table like this right now. And gets to Bob Gibson. He looks, he goes, "Hey Lou, who the fuck is this for?" And I'm going,
Game
I'm
up.
looking around and going, ain't for me. I don't know who it is, Mr. Gibson. I don't know who. And Lou goes, "Bob, just shut the fuck up and sign it, will you?" And so, all the stories that people tell you about Gibson being intimidating, trust me, hey, dude, he intimidated me, and I'm sitting at a table eating with him. So,
what was so intimidating about him? Was he a big, huge guy, or just the aura about him?
It's just his aura, dude. He did. I mean, and he'd tell the story. He didn't care, dude. It was his mound. It was his plate. If anybody was standing on it, he was going to throw at him. He didn't care. It's just a way. And I mean, that's back when that guy would throw 15 complete games in a season. Ain't nobody throws a complete game
backed
anymore.
it up.
I guess unbelievable. I mean, the guy, the whole story about him, a broken leg and still pitches, 2 more out. I mean, they just don't make them. I mean, there's not a pitcher alive. There's some great pitchers. There ain't anybody like that anymore. I'd give anything to have a Bob Gibson, because I do believe at some time you got to throw inside. Maybe you got to hit somebody, get their attention. I mean, I believe that's that's it. That's part of it, man. So
that's why you're such a big Cardinals fan.
Big Cardinal fan.
Because you are dirty as hell.
They're dirty, man. We're mean.
Right?
We're mean.
And so you love it.
Yep, I love it, dude. Hey, whatever you got to do, man. You got to win, man. Whatever you got to do.
So we touched a little bit yesterday on. Hey, didn't you have a story that came from that too? That then didn't he invite you somewhere else and like Candlestick?
Yeah. So you were asked. Yeah, I think we talked a little bit last night about, some of the cool things. Yeah, some of the cool things that you've gotten to do, and so the All-Star game at Candlestick, and I can't remember the year. Let me think back. Probably 2003, 2004-ish. The All-Star game was at Candlestick, and it was a new AT&T ballpark. Yep. So
is that cool sitting right there? Because they hit home runs out into the
bay, McCovey Cove, and this. So we get invited, and so I take my son Kyle, who was about 12 or 13 at the time. And for me, I love going to those events, but as it went on, you went to 10 of them or 11 of them. If I couldn't take my kids or my wife or somebody, I really didn't care. I mean, I didn't want to go, right? I'd rather. I mean, that was the fun, is watching somebody else enjoy something like that. So we got to go on the field, and I got to take BP the day of the game. So I get to take BP, have some fun. Kyle's out there shagging balls. We come back that night, and we have a suite ticket. So I'm in a suite. We're sitting there, one of the first ones in there, and it's in the outfield. And we're sitting there, and then all of a sudden, in walks Dave Winfield and his daughter. And I'm going, whoa, Dave Winfield, that's cool. And then Ozzie Smith comes in with his son. And then Cal Ripken comes in with his daughter. So here's the suite. It's Ozzie Smith and his son. It's Dave Winfield and his daughter, Cal Ripken and his daughter, and Glenn Campbell and his son. I'm going, what's wrong with this picture? I look at Kyle.
What the hell were they doing in the room?
Exactly. What were they? I mean, come on, man. You guys are in our suite. And I look at Kyle and said, you are arguably in a room with the 2 greatest shortstops, definitely of my lifetime, maybe ever. 100%. And so, you're there all night. So you're talking to him. You get to talk to him, and there's nobody asking for autographs. So they're like your buddies.
The real people.
Yeah, the real people. And so I look over, and Kyle's over there with those three people just talking, man. It's just like they've known each other forever. And here I am hanging out, talking Ozzy, talking. So I mean, those things, money can't buy. You those memories. I mean, when I say I'm blessed, I'm blessed. So those are just a couple things, and I could probably tell stories for hours, and I keep thinking about them. But yeah, no, that was a cool moment.
It is. It's funny that sitting here in Cincinnati, that it started there from that really neat experience of finally meeting Lou Brock.
Absolutely.
Right? And it speaks to relationships.
100%.
You never know where they're going to lead.
100%.
So we talked a little bit yesterday about your kids and what the opportunity you had when you were with your dad going on his routes, and then your kids being around these moments, and then how mature they were in these circumstances. People come to you all the time and discuss, hey, your kids are so mature. And last night, you called a couple of them, and you're like, see, every time we get off the phone, they say, hey, Dad, I love you.
Yep.
And that's special.
No, it is. And I mean, the boys are spoiled because the boys got to travel with me more, right? Yep. My girls, one was a little bit older, and then Paige was a little bit younger, and neither one of them were quite into sports like the boys were. But the cool thing about it is, I taught the boys, I go, hey, we're going to be in a suite, and the commissioner could be there, or or a coach or players, and they're always, you know, we were at a Cavs game, and Pippen walks in. You know, Pippen's there. I mean, it was a finals game, you know, and Eli's a big LeBron fan. You know, we were watching the game, and here's Scottie Pippen. And me, I'm gonna go talk to Scottie, and Eli don't care about Scottie Pippen. He's watching LeBron. You know, so but every event, anything we ever went to, you shake somebody's hand, you look them in the eye, it's yes sir, no sir. You thank them for allowing us to be there, and so, you know, as my dad taught me life lessons, this was sort of my route, if you will. You know, this was what I do for work. And it doesn't look like work when you're at an All-Star game or a Super Bowl or something, but if you went with me to those events, you're on the whole time. You were working. You just, yeah, it's fun, and you're drinking a beer, and you're meeting people, but it's work, and the kids, you know, they knew that. So they knew that.
Did you tell them how to act, or did you just let them be?
You know, I told them, I said, hey, you're going to see me talking to people. You know, when I'm talking to somebody, you don't interrupt. I mean, I will introduce you to everybody. You make sure when you go anywhere, you introduce your guests. Hey, Lou, this is my son Kyle and my son Eli. Hey, Lou, nice to meet you. I mean, those are life lessons, guys. And I go, I know today's, you know, you guys like to text, and you guys, you know, it's not as personable as it was in my day, but you know, my life is about relationships. My job's about relationships. And so I'm going to treat you guys just like, yeah, you're my kids, but this is a business. I'm at work. And so that's how it's got to be.
So they've developed that same thing. And so just talking to him a little bit last night, one in his teens, the other one in his mid to late 20s, right? And there's a maturity about them. And I think the maturity, it's not saying that they're more intelligent yet than somebody their age, though the experience probably leads to it, because they still have to go and experience things to build on this information in their mind. However, I attribute it to they have a confidence and a self-esteem in situations that is learned behavior.
100%.
And I personally see so many people these days, and the reason why they don't start, the reason why they don't take action, the reason why they delay in making a video and connecting on social media is because they just don't believe in themselves. They worry about what they look like. They worry about what they're going to sound like, and they just don't get started. And they're not going to do that until they gain some experience. So how does that happen in your experience from managing a huge company, from being involved with so many different people? How can that skill be developed that somebody that's 25, that's 30, that's 35, that hasn't developed at a younger age?
You hit it on the head. The first word you said was confidence, and that is the truth. That is, you know, I've watched my own kids, but you watch a lot of people when you see when that light bulb clicks on for people, man. Some people have it. You had it when I met you at 19. You had it already, right? And you've refined your skills over 20 years. Some people don't have it, and it's all that confidence. It's about being able to walk in a room and talk to people. It's about looking people in the eye. It's about, you know, appreciating what you have there and thanking people and genuinely doing that. And so, you know, all the skills you know when somebody has gotten that confidence. I mean, I think that is the key. People sometimes lay back because they lack the self-confidence to, I don't know if I'm good enough, and I don't know if I want to go up and do that. I don't know if I want to apply for that job, man. So much of it's self-confidence. If you can get that self-confidence built up, and I think that's, you know, unfortunately, that's a product of your life. It's a product of who you're around, right? And I think we talked about that before. You know, what kind of upbringing you have. You know, what did somebody tell you that they loved you? Did somebody tell you, man, you did a really good job? Also, were those people in your life that looked at you and say, hey, man, you know that wasn't the right way to do it, or that's not the right way to handle it? Did you have somebody doing that? And if you didn't, somewhere along your life has somebody taken you in and mentored you, because I think that was my, you know, and again, I know we talked about a lot of stuff last night, but you know, my calling, I believe that I was put on this earth to help people. I really do. Now, granted, I've had some success in business. I've had success in life. I'm very blessed. I've got 4 wonderful children.
But you've got to take credit for taking that action. See, that's it. You want it because you're so humble and you appreciate other people. But the reality is, back when we go back to when you came home and said, Dad, I'm not going to go to P&G.
Right.
I'm not going to take the I'm not going to have the company car. I'm going to go put on the stripes. You made that decision. Nobody made that for you.
Crazy. You know, and I don't think about that very often, but you're right. It's one of those deals where,
and that path, that decision,
that's the fork in the road.
That's
right?
it. And so, how do we help people have confidence to make those types of decisions? Because that was confidence then, right? There was something inside 100%. Of you that made you. I'm making this decision.
100%. And I think it's different for different people in different stages of their life. I think if you talk about young people right now. You know, we like to look at young people and say, "Oh man, they're lazy. They sit around on their phones. They don't know how to talk." Well, that's not true. Mm-hmm. Number one, they're probably more intelligent. I can tell you, Mike sitting down here is probably more intelligent than you and I are combined, right? They just go about it a different way, right? They process things a different way, and they haven't had anybody pull them out and say, "Hey, you know what? We go to dinner, phones don't come out." And that's one of the things I like to talk about. And I'm guilty, man. I'm guilty.
Well, we did a pretty good job last night without even talking about it.
We did. And, and again, I purposely got to make myself do that, or else I'll be on it. Put it off the side, put it in your pocket. Sometimes you don't bring it in the restaurant, and I'm bad. My wife's on me all the time. Going, God, can't we sit here without the phone? You know, and exactly no. But it's one of those deals where, you know, I look at my kids and I say, hey man, when you're meeting somebody, when you're talking to somebody, I'm telling you. I know everybody does it, but you have to, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be like tying your hand behind your back, but you got to do it. And I promise you, they will notice that.
What's it saying by default if you pull that out?
Exactly,
it's saying that thing's more important than this thing we have.
You're not. I'm not interested. I got some other. And no matter how, might be something on that thing that's important.
Doesn't matter.
And again, we're all guilty of that. That's the society that we live in today. But I'm telling you, young people have to use that thing for what it is, because it's
incredible.
Incredible what you have at your fingertips. Your calendar, your schedule, your Rolodex, if you will.
The best brain in the world.
It's unbelievable. You can look stuff up. Yeah, I used to have to. Hell, I couldn't get an answer to something, right? I wonder what this is. Well, you can get it in 2 seconds, right? But that can also be an appendage that is a detriment if you don't use it right. So when you talk about
the confidence piece, because I see as this company continues to grow, and I reflect on experiences that I had with you 15 and 20 years ago, and have discussions about the people that we knew that were similar, and you look through all of these things, and now I can track it back to, I break it down as simple as this: they weren't confident enough to do that. They weren't confident enough to take action. They didn't believe in themselves. Because who gives a shit about the failure? I think you have to embrace that part and just know whatever comes my way from the decision, I'm going to make something good out of it. But that is lacking in so many people, and good people. So I have so many at this company that I just want to shake them and say, guys, just do what I did. I have the path completely designed. I have the path of $150,000, of $200,000. You just do the things I've done that I'm going to train you. And I'm telling you, you're going to have the same things.
You're right, people. And you're sitting here, you're going, I've made the mistakes. And by the way, go make one. Go make 10. Go fall down. But I'm telling you, here's the path if you walk it, man. And again, it can be easier for you because I've already blazed this trail. But you know what?
It's like a dad.
It is. It's so hard for people to go, you know what? I got it, man. That sounds really good. But, man, I want to walk this way because I actually think this is a shorter way. Or you know what? I don't want to do it like that. You talked to me last night about some stuff. And, again, I'm learning this real estate business. I'm going to be in this thing before it's all over with. But, this, what you talked about the 3%, you're willing to, and I don't know if I'm giving a trade secret away here.
Go ahead.
So,
I'll tell the world.
But I'm hey, we're gonna sell this. We're gonna sell your house, and we're gonna sell it for free.
Yep.
Basically, we're gonna sell it for free. Hey, Glenn, you got to pay the listing agent or
buyer's agent,
right? Buyer's agent, whatever
3%.
that is, right? 3%. So you're gonna sell your $300,000 house, and it's gonna cost you $9,000, not $18,000.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
But I tell you what, when you go buy the new one, we are exclusive. Yep. It's us.
Yep.
We're the listing agent. We're the selling agent. We're it.
Yep.
So then you turn around and they buy a $500,000 house.
We make $15,000.
That's it. And at the end of the day, that's a win. That's a win. But now people look at that and go, I don't know, man. Now we're giving up. No, what are you giving up? You're getting. It's not giving up.
We're taking market share.
It's the means to an end, man. That's it. That's right.
That's it. I'm actually helping our agents that we're helping them build a career make the significant part of that $15,000 to build to six figures.
And if I'm a guy, and hey, I've
consumer.
I've bought multiple houses. I've went for that first $125,000 house, then to the $250,000, then to the $400,000, and then to the $1 million. You know, yep. I've done that. So I'm maybe a 2 or 3 or 4 time. People are going to buy multiple houses in their lifetime. They look at somebody and go, well, hell yeah, we're going to call pivot. Are you kidding me?
It's a financial decision.
100%.
It's exactly what it is.
100%. Especially at those lower level homes, and then even at the upper level home, because of the price.
It doesn't mean as much. If you're a guy who owns $1 million home, the reality is that, listen, I think you're crazy for not wanting to save $30,000.
Right.
But that $30,000 doesn't mean as much to you.
Changed my life.
Right. So that person's selling the $200,000. We're saving them $6,000. That's half of the down payment. For the next home they're buying, it's essential. We've had so many situations where they aren't able to even make the move without it.
Right.
Because of the program.
Right.
So this thing is not about, I think what industries happen to them so often, people just do the things the way because that's the way it's been done. And for us, we just stepped outside the box. This isn't about us, but we stepped outside the box and said, hey, I don't want to ruin something or mess up a business or be the interrupter. So many people are trying to do it.
Right.
I just want to take a look at it and
That's
say,
the sexy word, the interrupter.
Yeah.
Right?
So I just want to do it the best way. Let's step out of here and see if there's a better way for agents. Is there a better way for consumers? That's what wins business.
Well, everybody says they're doing it for the customer. Whatever you do, man, customer first, customer first, customer first. Hey, by the way, this isn't an industry that customers are first. I'm not saying it's a. And there's a lot of industries like that, right? But at the end of the day, if the customer's first, then
why aren't we doing? Why aren't everybody doing what we're doing?
100%.
Right.
So at the end of the day, the consumer that might be the difference between them having PMI, have to get PMI insurance or not. Hey man, it might be $50 or $75 or $100 a month, but for people, that's a big deal.
It's tens of thousands of dollars over the life of them owning that property.
100%.
And so I stopped fighting the battle on the front lines of trying to convince people this was the right way, because I'm like, you know what? They're just going to stay where they are.
Right.
We'll continue to move forward, and whatever the outcome is. If someone did it better than us and that big momentum forced the industry to change, then great. If we don't have this billion-dollar business. But the reality is so many people refuse to do it for the consumer, for the agents, and we're just willing to do it in a selfless manner, and it's rare.
Well, it's what everybody talks about, think outside the box. You know, and everybody goes, "Oh, that's a neat thing to say." Oh, think outside. What's that mean? Think outside the box is. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to sell your house for free. And here's the deal. I know you. You're competitive. You like to win. You want to make money. We all want to make money. But at the end of the day, if somebody has a better mousetrap than this, you'll go, okay, let's take a look at them. I'll pivot. Right? That's your name. I laugh at cliche, but what a great name. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the guy that just says I'm right all the time.
I'm not locked into this thing.
I feel like this is the right way today.
Correct.
And I think it's the right way to get us to where I want to go. But along that way, we get 3 years from now, if there's a different way, you know, you talk about Zillow and some things in the marketplace that are going to be interrupters or disruptors or even other things that are happening in the world
that
today.
We don't even know.
You know what? Yeah, we could have another 08 coming up, you know, another pandemic. Who knows? But at the end of the day, if there's another way, yeah, we pivot and we go that way.
Best practice. And so a lot of people are. So the elevator story on this thing in the comments, like, guys, listen, you're like, hey, where'd the name come from? We just looked at the business. We didn't like the way it operated, so we decided to pivot 180 degrees and do it the opposite way.
Love it.
Right.
And then it still works today, right? Because if that's not right, then we pivot 45 degrees this way.
And
right?
how often do people not back up who they say they are? And we're willing to.
That's awesome.
So the question is back on this confidence thing. If we can figure that out as a business, if I could walk out of here today out of the podcast room, and there's not as many agents in the office right now, it's holiday season, Christmas this week, but if I ran into 10 to 15 agents and could convince them to walk away and to go make that video that connects with consumers right then, I'd do it. So what can we do? What can we do? And we'll sit here and talk about it. Maybe we don't have the answer. How can we convince them, right? Where can we build this confidence from?
Yeah, I think you already have. I mean, I've seen what you've done, so I think you already have done that in some people. You know, other people, it just, you know, you can sit here and have the same message for there's 100 people in a crowd, and I've talked in front of 100, 1,000, and you give the same message, and people walk up to you and dude, you know by the look in their eye that, dude, you got to them. You go, man, they heard every word. And then other people walk up to you, and you think they kind of got it. You feel good about it, but you're not sure, and they're not sure. And then there's the other people you're going, were you just in the same room as the other people? And I just think it takes people different times to reflect. It may take somebody 6 months, and they look back and they go, dude, I freaking get it. Now I understand what the hell Mark's talking about, right? And so not everybody's going to walk out after the gospel that you give them and become an apostle, right? Using my old Catholic terms. You may have one or two that become an apostle right away and go, dude, whatever you did, I'm doing it. And then other people, man, they got to figure it out. They got to think about it and go, man, I don't know. And then, one day the light clicks on. Maybe they have a sale. Maybe they have a situation, and then other people, it's going to take them longer. But I'm telling you, you're laying the groundwork for that confidence. And I can see, I was out there with Q, one of my old guy, the old guys you got here, man. He's old Hat World guy. He came in with his Hat World gear. He looked great. But, we're out there looking at that board. And I'm asking him, what's DFG, DTG? What's the group?
NFG.
There's what it was. So
started
I'm going
6 years ago. Didn't know anything about
real estate. So I'm sitting here going, dude, Quentin, you got one up there, and DFG, man, they got like NFG. What is he? NFG?
Nick Folt's group.
Yeah, Nick Folt. Nick. Nick's group's got about 9. I'm going, what's Nick?
And you don't even know the guy.
I don't even know who Nick is. Nick, I've never met you, but congratulations. But I'm sitting here going, dude, who's Nick? Because we need to be doing what Nick's doing. And he's trying to explain to me the teams, different things. I go, well, I'll tell you what, team, no team, 3 team. If I got 9 and I got 1, I got to figure out what team can I get on? So at the end of the day, to me, you've got the tools. You're preaching the gospel. You do things like this right here. At the end of the day, you're putting those building blocks in place. What you'll learn and what you've learned already, I'm sure, is that everybody soaks that in, takes that in, and that light bulb turns on at different times. I really think, and that's frustrating for somebody that says, damn, I told you, I gave you the 5-step way that was foolproof. I've proved it.
Guaranteed. Literally guaranteed.
How come all of you guys aren't making 100K, 150, 200? And again, it is. I don't know. If we knew that answer, you, me, Mark Cuban, all the smart guys, Einstein, if we all, I'm sure those guys, anybody out there that's been great in business goes,
that's what we're doing.
Exactly. Well, I gave you guys the way. How come not everybody's on Shark Tank?
But that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
Right?
That's what we're doing.
To help them.
100%.
And so I think I reflect on, so last night, this is like Glenn Campbell part 2.
Part 2, baby.
Right? And so last night, I was listening this morning, reflecting a little bit. So all the roadblocks you had on your path. So we have things like you came home and you were going to work for P&G and you told your dad, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go work for Foot Locker. And he's losing his mind. And then you go work for Foot Locker, and they changed their path, took the incentives away, even though that was your identity. I bet working at Foot Locker was your identity.
Oh, dude, for 8 years, it was the best job. I'll still give credit to Foot Locker. It trained me to be a retailer.
100%. Not just a retailer. It trained you to be a business person.
100%.
Right?
You ran your own business.
That's it. And so then you went and you wanted to open an athlete's foot, but they wouldn't let you guys merchandise your own stores. So that was a roadblock. Right. So then you came up with this idea for Hat World, the best name ever.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And then you went to the malls. These people had seen you succeed in the malls. You went to the malls. Roadblocks there. The 2 or 3 malls you wanted to be in, they said no. Right. And so then when you opened the first Hat World, you're going through a divorce.
Yep.
You're sleeping in a store, taking showers with Luca's Pizza.
Luca Pizza, dude. Yeah.
Was it Luca? Was it him?
It was back at Luca Pizza. No, it wasn't Luca. He was just one of the employees there.
So
Roger.
All of the
he came to work for Hat World Lids.
Right. Yeah. And so then what were you making at Foot? 50, 60 grand?
Yeah. Probably top end.
And you had the confidence and faith in something, yourself, an idea, to make $36,000. Sleep in a store in the other 2,000 square feet that wasn't remodeled, probably, right?
Yeah.
To get showers somehow with Luca because you can't go home because you're getting divorced.
Right. Yeah, don't have a home at that point.
So you don't get here without those losses, failures.
100%. 100%.
Okay. This is where entrepreneurs fail. They have the idea.
Right.
They have the hat world idea. They take the jump.
The roadblock, they get past the first roadblock, and then the second one comes. And then the pothole's there, and man, they get through that pothole. And then, something else happens, and it's a crash there. And oh, man, I'm done. You're right. I mean, it's to me, man, I'm so dumb. I've never been afraid to fail because I know I'm not the most talented person. Like I said, I have no athletic ability. I love sports, but have no, I play a little bit of something, but athletic ability I didn't have. I wasn't the smartest until I graduated. I think there was 86 people in my class. I graduated 40 something, and part of it was I didn't apply myself. Grades weren't as important as they should have been back then, but I could get by for sure. But I wasn't focused back then. But at the end of the day, once I got into business and watching my dad, I knew, even when I ran that grocery store, whatever I did in business, I knew I was as good as anybody out there. I knew I could sell as good as anybody out there. I knew I could motivate as good as anybody out there. And so I was never afraid to bet on me, even when it was taking steps backwards, which I took many times. But even when it's taking steps backwards, I knew, I always believed. Sorry. Now I hit the button, Mike. Sorry, Mike, I didn't hit the button. I'm getting this button thing down. But at the end of the day, man, I always had confidence that I was the guy. I was better than anybody else at what they did. Now, I'm not an arrogant guy. Nope. I feel like I'm a humble guy.
You're very humble.
But at the end of the day, I knew. I always liked. To me, the best bet is betting on myself.
Did you know that? You did, but you didn't even tell yourself that. You didn't.
No.
Right?
No.
It was inherent.
But it's just one of those deals where I knew, and it wasn't that, hey, get out of the way, I'll do it because I can do it better. It wasn't that way. I mean, I'd rather teach. The old saying, teach somebody to fish so they can eat for a lifetime. I'd rather teach you. I'll show you, man. I'm gonna get alongside you. We'll both get dirty. I didn't mind that, but I knew that being involved. I tell you, I've learned that, and I've learned that in investing. I've made a lot of mistakes investing money, and you know where I have not made mistakes are investments that I'm involved in. Whether I'm sitting on a board, whether I'm part of the company, whether I'm a consultant, if I'm involved in some way, shape, or form, those investments have done well for me. The ones where I hand somebody a check for $300,000, $400,000, and dude, we're gonna do this, or we're gonna do that, or we're gonna be the new this, and I go, ooh, dude, I can turn 300 into 3 million. Hey, well, I've learned easy. I'm sure there's easy money out there. I'm sure somebody's got a way to magically double their money. I've never figured it out without hard work, being part of it. That's what I've learned. And
I've never seen it.
I won't invest again with anyone if I don't have some sort of involvement in the business. I don't have to be running it.
Yep.
I just want to have some sort of involvement.
So it's either one of two things. It's either it's so interesting and it's so dynamic that it is that special that you want to be involved, right? Or the talents that you bring and the experience that you've developed can help people jig and jag and move when you see something. So it's one of those two.
Right.
And if you don't have those two pieces, what the hell are you giving anybody money for? Had to learn, right?
That's right. And I've learned the hard way.
So how do we tell people you had this inherent confidence, and I probably share some of that same quality?
Absolutely.
Right. How do any of these people know when to quit? How do you know?
How do you know when to quit?
Yeah. Dude, because if we're too dumb sometimes, like we make a decision and we move forward so if you ask me the question, it probably wouldn't be a good outcome because I'd just come swinging at people.
Right.
But really, every idea that someone has to go create a business, right, and to pursue entrepreneurship, every idea is not a good idea.
No, you're right.
Right? But the idea when you have it and I have it, we think it is.
Right, sure.
Right? And so I can be as confident as I want. If I have a bad idea or a good idea and don't execute it right in the marketplace and the marketplace says no, I can want to work as hard as I want to work. Right?
Doesn't matter. So, I tell you what, Quentin and I just talked about this. And he said this is one of the things that he remembers that he learned from me is that surround yourself with good people. So, and that you hear about all the time. Oh, dude, I surround myself with good people. Well, that is true. That's life. That's life. You try to surround yourself with good people, right? You want to be on a team where there's a good coach. You want to, you don't get to pick your parents. You don't get to pick your family. So that one you can't choose. And sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not. But you surround yourself with good people. I'll take that a step further. Surround yourself with people that'll be honest with you. Okay. And so have a conversation. So you ask me a question. I'm going to give you a real answer, and you're going to sit back and go, "Well, damn, I don't agree with you." Well, that's okay. Yeah. It's okay that you don't agree with me.
We might learn something together from it.
And I don't care if you like what I have to say, but you know who I am. That's why you asked me. I know who you are. I know why you asked me. You got to surround yourself with people that are not yes people in business and in life. If your parents are enablers, and we can be, and we are, right? We can be. At the end of the day, the best parenting is tough love parenting. The best parenting is looking at your kid as much as you love them and saying, "Nope, you're on your own. Nope, you're going to pay for that. Nope, you want to do it. That's your deal." I think it's the same thing in life and in business. If you want to be successful and you have this idea, bring it to somebody. Bring it to somebody that you know will look at you and go, "No way." And we'll explain to you why. Because if I had $1 for everybody that told me you couldn't sell hats for a living, I'd have twice as much money. Yep. That didn't stop me, but I did pay attention to the people that looked at me and said, "Hey, man, I got what you're doing, but these are the things you want to watch out for." People that were honest with me, people that told me the truth, and I think that's when you know how to quit. Find the people in your life that are not going to bullshit you, that aren't just going to say, "Oh, dude, that's a great idea. Oh, you ought to go do that." No, I would. Hey, I know you lost money last year, but I'd keep going. Well, yeah, they keep going because they're not keeping. You want somebody, and surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with people that will tell you the truth.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good. So you still didn't answer. When do you know when to quit?
Man, I don't.
So here's what
as an entrepreneur, the problem is I don't know that you do. I mean, that's the bad thing.
Because what do we always hear? And by me running down the list of roadblocks you had, one of the biggest attributes is you didn't quit.
Right. That's it. I don't think a real entrepreneur. I don't think they quit. I mean, I think you got to kill them. I mean, I don't.
The marketplace says you're going broke.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you learn something, and get up and do it again.
When the bank comes and they shut your door and they give you no more money, I guess you quit. But to your point, a real entrepreneur then gets back up and already has 3 other ideas that they've been thinking about and says, "No, what do you think about this?"
So make sure that before you start something, vet it.
Yeah.
Have the people around you
100%.
to make sure it's the right idea, because once you start, you shouldn't quit.
No, and by the way, you won't. Like you said, until you're broke or maybe until you've reached the peak, right? One of the two, you're not going to.
Well, who's not? You or me? Because there's so many people who do.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
Entrepreneurship. We're sitting here looking at this logo. You gave us a lot of credit for it yesterday.
Yeah, great.
A necessary entrepreneur.
Love it.
What's entrepreneurship mean to you?
It's funny because I have an affinity, and I think we talked about this. You and I talked a bunch yesterday over steaks and over games, and I have an affinity for people who have an idea, who are willing to take a chance. They've got a good job, or they've got a good situation, and they're willing to step backwards and say, "Man, I really think there's a place for a hat store in a mall, or there's a place for a different kind of real estate company that does things a different way, that doesn't just follow the status quo and just draw commissions," right? I have an affinity for people that are employee number one. And that doesn't mean that if you were born with a little money, or you walked into a situation that, so-and-so had a great situation. Hey, that doesn't mean that so-and-so didn't work hard. That doesn't mean that so-and-so isn't smart. I just have an affinity for people who are willing to bootstrap it, don't have a safety net. I mean, that's the thing. If I walked into a situation where my parents had money, or I was into a business that was already started, and if it failed, I was still okay because mom or dad still had tens of millions. You make different decisions that way, because even if you fail, you don't fail. But when you have your when everything you are doing and you have in your life is riding on every day when you get up in the morning, I have an affinity. I have a special place in my heart for people like that. And I will help people like that. I will listen to people like that. Because if you've never been employee number one and hired employee number two, then you did it differently. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying you're not successful. I mean, there's billionaires and trillionaires that have done it 100 different ways. But I like me, if I'm going to sit around a room and talk to entrepreneurs, I want the guy and the girl who started out as employee number one. How and why and what, and are you crazy? To me, that's an entrepreneur. I'm not saying that you couldn't have money and you had the idea and you got lucky. You started on third like we talked about, right? And I had to start it in the dugout. That doesn't mean it could have been a great story. But I like the stories that bootstrap and starting from zero.
So what's the advice? This is such the normal, typical question, but it's real. So what's the advice to give to that person who has the idea, that vetted it, that's going to go do it? What's the advice? What are they going to face? What's going to happen to them throughout their path? How do they overcome it? What's the advice?
Well, I tell you, every situation is different. Are you married? Do you have kids? Well, right? You got to buy in. You got to be all in because there's no way you open a restaurant, open a retail store, open a real estate firm, bring an idea to market on the web, or whatever the million things that can be done. No way those things happen if you half-ass it. If you go, well, I'm gonna do this because that pays my bills, and then I'm gonna do this on the side. Well, that's fine. I mean, they both can work. But at the end of the day, if you're an entrepreneur and you've got an idea and you're gonna take it, you got to be all in. You got to be willing to look at it and go, dude, you know what? Worst case scenario, hey, I can always go do that. As long as you have that mentality where hey, I can go 10 bar, or I can go work in a retail. I can go do things and make money and make a living and pay my rent. But if you got an idea, if you're going to start a store or a retail concept or what you did, you got to be all in. And for me, I always was, but there are people, I've watched people wonder, and they go, God, I don't know why it didn't make it. Well, it didn't make it because you didn't give the effort. You're willing to put in 50. Oh, congratulations, because you got to put in 100. I mean, I
as crazy as that sounds.
Oh, it is crazy, but it's true.
It's true.
It's on. And when I say that, I mean, the people I love are the people that, they've got kids. You know what they do? They get home at 6:30, turn the computer off till 8:39. Kids are in bed, wife's in bed watching TV. Then they click it back on till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Man, I know a lot of people like that. Now, you may call it crazy, but they put in 5 hours after kids go to bed, or 4 hours after kids go to bed, and by the way, they're back at it at 7 o'clock. So they work a 7 to 6 and then have 4 or 5 more hours. The best people I knew that got somewhere in life with LIDS and then beyond LIDS, and I can give you, Jimmy McManus, kid I just talked to. He works at a gun shop. It's not gun shop. It's shoot, fire, aim, or
like a shooting range, gun shop, everything.
Dude, he went into it about 18 months ago. This kid's brilliant, and this kid was making a lot of money with us. He was our top. I mean, probably when I was there the last 3 or 4 years, the only person LIDS that could run the company. He was the only person that could run the company. He was the only guy that I would have said, yep, he's a CEO, he's a president. He left, took a step backwards, took a risk, and dude, he is killing. But you know what that kid was when I was there? I could email that guy at 11 o'clock at night at LIDS, 12 o'clock at night at LIDS, 1 o'clock. I'd have an answer because he was just like I was. He'd never, he'd be around for his family. He's got 2 young kids, a wife. You know what? He knew when he and I talked about balance all the time. This was a young kid that.
Okay, so go there on this work-life balance thing. Go talk about it.
I'm a true believer, and I wasn't always great at it. A work-life balance. And again, it depends on what you got. If it's just your wife, and she's got a career, or he or she got a career, at the end of the day, that's a little bit different balance because. You know what? Maybe an hour in the evening is all you need. Maybe it's a dinner together, and that's it. So you got 23 hours in a day. You can go do what you want. maybe it's just weekends or a weekend, or maybe it's, hey, once a month. I know couples that are successful, and they go, you know what? Once every quarter, we're going to take a long weekend, 4-day weekend. Okay, cool. You can then sort of set that up, and then all the rest of the time's yours. But when you start throwing kids in there, I always believe if you're going to be successful in business and you want to be successful as a father or a mother, you got to have a work-life balance. But again, a work-life balance doesn't mean you have to just turn it off at 5:00.
I believe it's the wrong analogy. It's the wrong way to think about it. You've just got to find a way to have them intermingle and do both of them well. Because if somebody's trying to find a balance, it means you're turning one switch on and turn the other one off.
That's a great point.
It doesn't work that way.
100%. I probably never had work-life balance.
Right.
But what I did is I made sure that I didn't miss the important stuff.
Every once in a while you did, though.
Oh, 100%. Oh, right? I missed some important things, but overall,
you didn't miss them all the time.
100%. I think if you ask my kids, I mean, they'll tell you I was gone, but I called. Hey, how was the game?
Like last night.
I'd come back.
You called a son in California, and you called your other son that's at home in Cape.
Exactly.
And you connected with them.
I was texting my daughters in between. I mean, you found. I tell you what, doing it now is a little bit easier than it was back when I went through it early.
It's not about it's easy. That's what we said, right? Success in business and entrepreneurship is not easy.
Oh, dude, no.
Right? It's not. And so you're not going to find an on and off switch for a balance, but you've got to be – this business thing has to be, to your point, have dinner. But it's not dinner and then Netflix and then movies all night long and coming back to the office at 8 and having no concern in between.
Nope.
That's not reality.
Hey, and can you turn it off every once in a while? If you can, that's awesome.
You got to have the right people with you to be able to turn it off.
If you and you hit it on the head, because as I'm not a real estate agent, never been into real estate, but I can tell you this:
it's business.
I'm telling you what, there's no way that phone can be, because you know what? I'm selling my house, or I'm buying a house. I may be laying there at night going, "Hey, Mark, dude, are we going to get this thing? What do I need to do? What?" And
11 o'clock at night.
I need you answering me, man. I need some reinsurance. Hey, Glenn, gonna be okay, dude. We bid $5,000 more than I really feel good about it.
Put our bet foot forward. If this one isn't the right one, we're gonna try to get it. There'll be another one behind it.
Hey, you got it.
It's the reassurance.
They believe in you, man. That's it. So I mean, every business has got its own.
It is,
Nick. But you're going, I got to be on. I mean, I'm not saying you got to be up all night, but
if your customers are up all night reaching out, you have to be.
It can't be. You can't be turn it off at 5:00.
No.
I can tell you, no way.
So I think to find this balance, it's not a work-life balance. I think you have to find some passion in what you do. So what's your thought about I come at some of these really big, wealthy billionaires and their perspective. If there's one thing I personally hate in this world, it's an elitist mindset. And what I mean by an elitist mindset, it's once they got there, then they want to tell somebody else to do it different. And that's the biggest load of bullshit there ever was. Whether it's somebody that rises to become a president, whether it's somebody that rises to a company, and then say, you know what? My life wasn't amazing, the things I had to get up to get here. I want you to have the same thing, but let me make it a little easier on you. Here's the reality. It's not possible.
Nope.
And so guys like Warren Buffett and people like Richard Branson, right, who own Virgin Group. These guys, if I hear and I read their books, I look up to the things they've built. But if they say one more time, you've got to find your passion, then go there. Real estate wasn't my passion.
Right.
Hats weren't your passion, right? You make a decision and do something and find passion within it.
Yep.
You made a difference in people's lives from creating a hat store.
Right.
I'm making a difference in people's lives from starting a real estate company. I didn't even think about being a realtor until an adjunct professor at Thomas More College at night, when I was burnt out in my retail career. He said, man, what are you going to do? You've got all this ability. I said, I have no clue. He said, man, you should be in commission sales. I was like, oh, everybody's kind of told me that.
Right.
And I said, well, commission sales, if you want to make that statement, what should I do? He's like, go get your real estate license. As passionate as I am today about making the difference in agents' lives and changing their life from $50,000 to 6 figures, saving consumers thousands of dollars and a better experience, I didn't have that passion until I got into the business. Right? And so if I waited for my passion, I would never find it.
Right.
I got to make a decision. What's your passion going to be? Painting some pictures?
Right.
You're going to make $300,000 a year. Is that a guaranteed path? What, are you going to be sitting underneath the bridge starving, trying to find somebody to pay $10 for your painting?
Yeah. No, you hit it on the head. You talk about, everybody goes, man, find something you love and then do it. Well, that's great, but at the end of the day, is that going to pay the bills? You hit it on the head. I'll flip that.
Yeah.
Whatever you do,
yeah,
right, you got to do it to the very best of your ability. You've got to give it everything you got. What's funny is even during my my run with LIDS and my success that I had, people always tried to make you feel guilty because you worked. People always tried to make, and I'm not talking about family. My family was good. They were a rock. Buddies that they took off at 4 o'clock because deer hunting season, or they 5 o'clock they were done. They were in a bar at 5 o'clock any day of the week. 5 o'clock my day just might have started, right? And we were there till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning in the stores. Where people make you feel guilty about what you did and how hard you worked. And you know what? At the end of the day, you just hit on the head. I was cool with the balance. I didn't get it right all the time. I screwed up sometimes. There were times when I knew, what, I didn't need to stay till 1 in the morning. I probably could have left at 10 and made it home for whatever it was, or made it here for something. I screwed up, but I'm telling you, 95% of the time, I wouldn't have changed a single thing I did. And I did it because it's what I wanted to do. It's because what I love to do.
You found passion in what you were doing.
Because I knew what I was doing. There was a means to the end. I knew the path I wanted. I knew the success I wanted, and I knew it wasn't what most people deem as a work day, an 8 to 5, a 7 to 5. I'm not talking bankers hours. I'm making fun of bankers. I got a lot of friends that are bankers, but that just wasn't me. It just wasn't, man. And so, to your point, hey, maybe you are lucky enough to be an athlete, be passionate about it, and you do make that your career. That's awesome. But those are the very small, lucky individuals that from 5 LeBron James or whatever, you're right.
Warren Buffett at 6 years old,
right.
He's reading the stock charts and investing because that's 100%. What his dad. Well, congratulations, Warren.
He's one of the few.
One of the few.
Right.
And I'm happy for him that spoke to him, and it's the thing that was in front of him because that's what his dad was doing.
Right.
Like, good for him.
Right.
That's so rare. And to think the disingenuous elitist part of that is they're so disconnected from reality.
100%.
They shouldn't be given this advice.
Right.
They shouldn't be, because it's causing people not to take action on these things that they don't start a hat store.
Right.
They don't start a real estate company. Do something. Take some action. Get started.
Well, the pandemic, you sit back and, all of us probably for 2 weeks were going, from probably March 10th till the end of March, you were going, wow, I don't know what's going on. And then I remember looking at my son, and I looked at him, I said, what's funny is this is going to be where the people that want to do it. There's going to be so much opportunity for people that won't sit back and go, oh, dude, I'm scared, or everything's going to be bad, or God, this is what's going to happen to the world. I can tell you, opportunities like this don't come along very often. They don't. It's no different than '08. The housing crashed. You looked at that and you could have gone, oh, dude, we're dead. Or you could have said, dude, hey, we got an opportunity here. And I truly believe that over the last 9 to 12 months, there are going to be a lot of people's lives changed for the better because they took an opportunity during a time when so many people were just, in their house, hiding in their basements, scared to death. And I'm telling you, those are the times that I think winners look at. I'm not saying that this isn't, this whole thing isn't,
we all know people that
scary.
We know people that have passed away that they would have still been here without catching.
And it's real. I get I'm not making fun of that at all. And hey, I wear the mask when I need to. I wash my hands, I do all the things, but I'm not going to hide my house ever. If I've got a thought or an idea, or I've got something I'm going to do, I'm going to do it. And I tell you, these are the times when they always say the rich get richer. I don't know if they do sometimes, but it's the people out there that look at something and go, the glass is still half full, right? Either your glass is half full and I'm going, or the glass is half empty and I'm hiding. And it's the people that the glass is half full. They're out there. It's not the rich getting richer. Might be, but it's people that are willing to look at it. They're looking at something that's adversity and going, oh no, this is perfect.
Bring it.
This is perfect.
Bring it.
Yep.
I think from speaking from experience, the reason why that it rings so true is that because when people are scared and they pull back in business, they pull their money off the table and don't continue to grow. There's voids in the marketplace in whatever you're doing that if they pull their money back, if you're willing to put your money in, there's an opportunity and a void that can be filled to grab market share in whatever business you're in that wouldn't have been there without it.
100%, man. I'm telling you, I'm as a guy that's been through things, and I'm sure I'm not the only. There's people sitting back and just watching, the world changed. What was happening in the retail sector just got advanced 5 years. I mean, people were going to go to online shopping. It just didn't happen as quick as everybody was thinking it was going to happen. Well, this changed it. I mean, you look at FedEx. You look at and take that further. Yeah, they deliver packages, and now you've got all these people that have jobs because that last mile. They had to figure out that last mile. Well, how about the cardboard guy? How about the wood guy?
The tape guy.
This has affected everything. And now, how about the plastic bag guy? Because now things are delivered in poly bags. Everything I get now there's no more boxes. It's in bags as long as it's thin enough to be in something. So
the conveyor belt guy.
All of those 100%, all of those people now, where there might be less people needed to run a McDonald's. There's someone on the other end that's needed because they're making something that they didn't, more drive-through material or whatever the case may be. So again, when one opportunity goes away, there's another opportunity. We just got to see it. Right?
So can we, in this situation where we have this perspective, we also have to take time to be empathetic about the ones that it's crushing too, right?
Oh, dude, that's, again, I am not going to talk any politics. I just know as an entrepreneur, watching small businesses struggle is just, I got buddies that are doing it. Now I got buddies that are thriving. Buddies that are in the beer business, buddies that are in the convenience store business, killing it. Other buddies in hospitality and restaurant. A buddy of mine is, don't feel sorry for but Mike Van Devens, COO of Southwest Airlines. Dude, I talked to him during this thing. I mean, Southwest Airlines is the only airlines that had never lost money. The only one that never filed for bankruptcy.
They government money.
They did it right. And here I remember talking to him during this pandemic a couple of times, and he's going, "Holy shit, we're gonna make it." But he's one of those things. You talking about, this guy's a brilliant guy, he's an intelligent guy. The company's a great company, and they're sitting there and have to reinvent themselves, right? How do we? Hey, we got to get the planes back up in the air. So what are we going to do? Okay, they got to wear a mask. We're going to keep the middle seat open. We're going to give them sanitizer. We're going to take fares or whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, it just checks your it makes sure, hey, who are the guys still in the game, awake and wanting to be successful, and who aren't. Southwest Airlines, I'm telling you right now, if I put my money on Southwest Airlines. Yep. They're going to make it. Yep. I promise you.
And that's a tough business to be in.
But you're right. It is hard to watch people lose because some of this is absolutely out of their control.
It is.
It is.
As much as it's in us not to make excuses, as much it's in us to say, figure it out, respond in a way so you can exist. There are situations that we don't even know what it's like operating those businesses that we can think we're badass. We can have all the confidence in the world. I know that there's just some things they can't control.
No, and there are always, and when something's out of your control, it's what they say, control the controllables.
Yep.
And so I believe if you control the controllables,
yep,
you win. Mm-hmm. But there are things that are out of, and right now you've got some people that are suffering because of it.
So as we wrap this up and talk about a few more things. So we talked about yesterday, you listen to a lot of books, right? I used to read a lot, but I'm listening to a lot of podcasts and a lot of audiobooks now. I read a book from Malcolm Gladwell, and he probably went to Harvard, and he's got the big poofy hair. Yep. He looks like a mad scientist. Yep. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Okay. So he wrote this book years ago called 10,000 Hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I read to inform myself. I do have some of these thoughts, but it's like these books put them into context. And the premise of that book is, and sorry, Malcolm, you'll probably never know that this podcast happened, but if I misinterpret your book. But what I got from it a long time ago was, you're not proficient at anything until you put 10,000 hours in. And I think we like things that speak to us mm-hmm. and what we've accomplished and things we've done. And there's something you said last night when we talked about all the hours, I'm 41, and all the hours that I've put into my business. This isn't an opinion. This is a true evaluation of myself. I didn't start smarter. I didn't start more intelligent than an average person. I might have even started a little bit less. I didn't know anything about the real estate business. Knew nothing about it. Never owned a home before I was in the business, right? Lived in an apartment when I got my real estate license. Nothing about my path was an indication that I should be here. And so in looking back, the only thing that I can explain, because I am very intuitive about myself and self-aware and self-conscious, know my strengths, know my weaknesses. The only thing I can explain is two things. I put in more hours than anyone else, and I didn't quit. And the thing that's so essential about the more hours, the 1 o'clock mornings, the 2 o'clock mornings, is that, see, when I'm at 41, I may have put in enough hours and had enough failure, gained enough knowledge, seen what not to do by the average person that's 62. And so the only thing that's happened is I've condensed the time frame of my learning.
Yeah, and I believe that wholeheartedly. We talked about it last night. I believe that. I always tell people, I'm going to live to 80. I promise you, I'll have lived to 100 because I don't get enough. I don't sleep as much as most people. I'm okay with that. My body's used to it. Like you said, I'm working 80-hour weeks. So at the end of the day, at 55, hell, I should be drawing Social Security already. I've worked enough to somebody that's been 65.
Keep spending all this money and living large. You might be drawing Social Security.
I might be drawing Social Security here soon. I might be your assistant here.
You might
soon.
be calling to Mike, saying, Mike, is there an assistant producer for?
Hey, Mike, can I go get you lunch? But at the end of the day, I think there is a lot of truth to that. Is that are you willing to put in those hours? So when you are 40 and you look back, dude, it's like you've got the knowledge, the successes and failures of somebody 50 and 60, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. I've never read the book, but I believe that.
So what happens is I have a better chance now at 41 to take this next step than the average person. Doesn't mean I was more intelligent.
Right.
My brain has just evolved.
Right. Doesn't mean you're going to be more successful.
No,
either, but
it's just my brain is in a position to hopefully evaluate things quicker, to make a better decision on what probably the potential outcome is going to be.
Absolutely.
And it sets you up to have a greater chance. And so the argument is not that everybody, listen, I do not advise people to go down the path I've gone. I won't tell them not to, because I think you should go out and take a chance and try to live your dreams.
Sure.
But if it's a question of, hey, Mark, I don't know if I want this life. Should I? There's easier ways to live life. However, what I would argue is when I was working at Hat World and LIDS, when I woke up every day, I do remember this conscious thought that these, whether it was an open to close, did 2 of those a week as a store manager. What are they, 11-hour day? 9 to 9s? 10 to 9, 11 hours.
11, 12.
And I remember I took that job, whatever place I was. And when I would go into that store that day, whether my job was to check in inventory and process it properly and scan every hat and check all the sizes and if all the right sizes are on the shelf or what needs to go in the back room. If it was taking a step back from the wall and looking at the wall and making sure that we had the same hats in the correct order, whether it's by color, whether it's by team, whatever it was, to make sure that they look good on the shelf, to make sure that the lights are pointed properly on the hats so when the customer comes in, it looked good, to make sure there wasn't a light bulb out, right? At night when you were folding up the receipts when we would close, and the way that you lay money into the deposit bag. It was my job to do the absolute best I could, regardless of what I was getting paid, regardless of what the future was. I needed to be the best hat positioner, the best light bulb changer, the best floor cleaner, and bust my ass to do that job the best that day. And I'm fortunate that I was willing to do that because that is what led me to the next step of being a market leader.
Yep, 100%.
And then being the best market leader. I think the problem that I saw then, and I was so young coming up through that company, and I felt so many people looking at me like,
who is that?
How the hell is that happening?
Right.
You're walking into this store. I'm 42. You're paying me $35,000 a year, and you're coming in as my boss to train me. And what I wish people would say is quit focusing on the next step. Quit focusing on, I want to be the manager in that next spot. Am I going to get passed over? Let me tell you, if you're the best at your current job, I think this is the best piece of advice I could give. And if you're the best at that job, even if you're not liked, even if your personality isn't the best, that business, if they're good business, they have no choice but to promote you.
Yeah, you won't get passed over.
You won't, because you put yourself in a position to be so valuable.
That's right.
And I don't think that's understood.
No, you're right. You're right. 100%. You asked me a while ago, and I just thought about this. You asked me, when do you know it's time to quit? I just thought about this. When you wake up, when you're putting in the hours that I've put in, you've put in, and a lot of people have put in, I still got up the next day, dude. Couldn't wait to get to where I was going. I was driving a 6-hour drive down to wherever I was going. You going up to Michigan or going wherever. I couldn't wait to get there. Couldn't wait to meet the new people. Couldn't wait to get the store going. I couldn't wait. It didn't matter how many hours I was putting in. It could have been the 80th hour of the week, the 100th hour, or the first hour of the week. Didn't matter. I couldn't wait to get going. Didn't care when I got to bed. Then couldn't wait to get up. It's time to quit when you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do that. I don't care what job it is. But when you're a real estate agent and you don't want to answer that text at 9 o'clock, when you're a retailer and you don't want to stay and clean the place up for the next morning's crew, whatever it is, and you know what job you're at, whenever you don't want to get up, whenever you dread getting up the next morning, or you're working that day and dread because you know you got to work tomorrow, it is time to quit. I don't care. And that's not just an entrepreneur, but that's when it's time to quit, because I tell you, in all of the years, towards the end, I had that way. But again, when it's no longer your company and private equity or something gets involved, then life changes a little bit. But at the end, I dreaded driving to Indianapolis. I drove to Indianapolis 2,000 times and loved that. People go, "You're crazy." Hell, sometimes I do it twice in a week. You lost your mind. Dude, I love it. I love it. I can't wait to get. As I know what I was doing, I was making a difference. But when I started, when my Sundays started to be ruined because I knew Monday was when I had to drive to Indianapolis, I knew it was time to let go. And I think that's time, especially as an entrepreneur, because you're the person that breathes life into it, right? But for you, the day you don't want somebody walking in your office asking you a question, the day that you won't take that text, that's time to quit. That to me is if your body doesn't tell you that, then it ain't, right? You'll know. But when you dread that, it's time to quit. I don't know why it came to me, but it came to me in a dream.
You came here for brilliance. Hey, so what does Glenn Campbell have going on now? Going into 2021, what are you working on now? What are you focused on? You have a new brand. You have some things. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I've got my fingers in 2 or 3 different things, man. There's a co-sharing workspace back in Cape Girardeau called Codify that I've been involved with. Like I told you last night, not my brainchild, not my idea, not my hard work and passion. I'm involved as a mentor. There's 35, 40 companies there. We're an incubator for companies, and co-sharing workspaces have been around for a long, long time, right? But people can come in there, they can join as a club member for $60, $70, and they get to come up and use the free space, and we have beer 30s, and we have different people come there like you and talk. In fact, I'm going to invite you there at some point to kind of give a talk, and people come around. Hey, 60-year-old people, 15-year-old, I said 15, college-age kids, whatever, and they want to hear from people, different people, about how they've made it, what drove them, and in their own mind trying to figure out what are the similarities, what are the things, what are the, and so it's kind of cool being part of that. I love being part of that culture, that community. So that's one thing I'm involved in. I've got a couple little business ventures going that I'm involved in. There's a business venture that I put a little money in, and again, I'm involved with that. That I'm involved in. The guys at Trifectum, Jimmy Pierre, we talked about him. He's a super kid, man. He was with LIDS a long time. He's got a little business going on. So
some apparel.
Yeah, some apparel and headwear.
He's
and
done some
just
cool stuff for us.
Yeah, he did, and so it's kind of fun, mentoring him and helping him out. And again, this is a brilliant kid. He's a lot like you. He didn't need a lot of help, but it's always nice that you can pick up a phone and call somebody and go, dude, man, have you ever, and this kid you talking about, this kid's putting in what we just talked about. He put in 15, 16, 18, 19 hours a day, man. And you know what? He knows tomorrow's going to be 20 hours. He knows the next day is going to be 21 hours. It don't matter, man. It's his passion, and that's why he may never be the biggest, but he is the absolute best at what he does. And the people, he's only got like 2 or 3 employees now, top notch. They love it, and he will I don't.
It'll become something.
I don't have a crystal ball, right? I don't know.
It's going to become
is it going to be
something.
5 million, 10 million? I don't know, but it's going to become something because of this past. So for me, I'm just out dabbling in a few things like that. And yeah, I got a brand I'm going to kick off one of these days.
Can you not say what it is yet?
Yeah, no, I'll sit back.
What's it kind of going to be though? Is it
it's
an
kind
apparel?
of like, it's going to start out headwear and apparel and maybe some accessories. It's kind of a little brand. It's a cross between
well, don't tell us.
Yeah, a little Barstool Sports meets Salt Life
of apparel
lifestyle. Yeah, lifestyle brand.
So when is that going to be out?
I probably we're working on a website. We've got designs and logos. Got some product being made. Probably spring. Probably next 90 days or so. So we'll kick that off. Hey, never not come back here and let you know how it's going, man. I'll feed you. We'll feed you some product and see if we can get Mike to be wearing the gear.
Mike, I can't wait till I get to go to Cape and I get the Cape steaks.
Mm-hmm. 30. I put a little plug in for my boy at 36 Main, John Eric Klein, dude. He's got the best steakhouse in town.
You're the best plug guy
there.
ever, man. Like you're like, you're like everybody's best friend, man. You're amazing. You care about your people. You're loyal. You're committed.
Dude, it's the best steak you ever have.
So 2021, what I love about 21 is, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
We have our plan. We have a business plan, but I don't know what's going to come our way.
Nope.
How's COVID going to come to an end? Are we going to remove this plexiglass? Mm-hmm. Are we going to be able to take the masks off? Is that going to become the new normal? We'll adjust, but I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited about the challenges.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's I feel guilty saying, man, I can't wait for this year to be over with. Are you kidding me? Every day I get up and get one more day, if I'm not below the dirt, I'm happy. So I've got to spend some of the most quality time I've ever spent with my family. Yeah. Reconnecting with friends because you had a little more time to look at the internet and find a video so I'm actually, I hate it for the lives that were changed, businesses lost, people that were lost. I hate that. But for me, this wasn't a year that I go, man, I'm going to look back on 2020 and just forget it. Not me, man. Every day's a gift. Every year's a gift. I'm looking forward to 21, but no different than I look forward to every year.
We've lost track of? We've lost track that without COVID, 2020 would have been a challenging year for a lot of people because it's called life.
100%.
We've lost track of that.
Hey, by the way, there was an election whether there was COVID or not. So there was going to be
a flu season. And I'm not saying 300,000 people dying is okay, but I know this. There would have been 40 to 80,000 very sad families that someone would have passed away because of the flu. 100%. There's people dying from cancer every day. There's people passing away in car wrecks and stuff. There are people that unfortunate thing has happened. But guess what? We didn't do then. We didn't stop living, though.
Right, yeah.
No matter what challenge comes our way, we don't stop living.
Right.
And I think optimistic people like me, that's where someone can try to check me and say, you know what, Mark, why are you so optimistic? I'm like, because regardless of what 2020 would have given me, I would have chose to say, okay, challenges, yes.
Yep.
Tough things we haven't dealt with, yes. But let me find a way to conquer this thing.
Bingo.
Right?
Bingo.
And so it's like, guys, I can be empathetic.
What's the old saying? I can or I can't. Either way, you're right, man. I can or I can't. Yeah, you're right.
That's it.
Yeah. Somebody said it to me. Yeah, that's pretty simple.
I think that's a great way to end this.
That's right.
All right, so hey,
where are we going?
How can they find everything Glenn Campbell? How can they find you? Don't give out your cell phone because then you'll have millions of followers and people.
Oh, yeah, I know my cell phone. They probably already got it. So email Glenn Campbell, GLENN CAMPBELL 87 at Gmail.
Okay.
So Glenn Campbell 87. And Twitter, I'm still, I'm a LIDS guy at heart. So wear WEAR _ lid. So wear lid. I'm gonna change that one of these days when I get my new stuff going on. I'll change my Twitter. My
you don't have to change it.
IG and I'll do something. I'll flip it.
So that's
something.
Your email and that's your Twitter.
Exactly.
What about your Gram? You got anything going on the Gram? I just started doing stuff.
Instagram.
The way I should. Yeah.
That's
wear lid.
Yeah, wear lid.
You don't really do Facebook. You do Facebook, but that's that's a way to connect with your.
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
Yeah.
So the social piece of it, dude, it's fun. I tell you what, my kids have taught me that social. TikTok and some things. I mean, it's.
You TikTok.
I have done one or two, but I'm not very good at it. I mean, I was obsessed with that about a year ago, man. So, I just happened to, I know Mark D'Amelio. If you're into TikTok at all,
yep.
Charlie D'Amelio is like
Charlie.
Charlie is she's it, and her father was a rep for Mitchell and Ness and a friend of mine, and so it's just crazy watching this. one day my daughter looks at me and she showed me a TikTok and it's Charli D'Amelio. I go, I know her dad. She goes, no, there's no way you know Charli D'Amelio's dad. She's the most famous TikToker in the world. I go, so I picked up the phone. I go, hey, Mark. Hey, Glenn, what's going on? Hey, Mark, what's your last name? He goes, D'Amelio. I go, what's your daughter's name? He goes, Charli. I go, Paige, here you go. My daughter's going, oh, my God, you know Charli D'Amelio. So the whole TikTok thing, I thought it was kind of a joke. But I'll tell you what, just like anything else, just like Facebook when it came out.
It's going to scale from the young and go up, and they're going to grow with it.
It's crazy, man. It is crazy. So, hey, you either adapt or die when it comes to that stuff. So,
all right.
You asked me one question last night. What was it, the LeBron?
Oh, you want to go with the LeBron and Jordan?
Well, I mean, we were talking last night. So, I mean.
What do you want to ask me? What do you want to ask me?
I mean, LeBron.
Ask me the question.
LeBron or Jordan? I mean, what?
Jordan, without a doubt.
So why? Why is it Jordan?
All right. So I've said this to too many people, and I've never heard a good response or retort to this. Everybody tries.
Right.
You're going to try. You're going to come back and try to say
I'll
something.
give you one.
And Mike over here is going to try to say something. The thing is, though, you've had to get help. You've had to call up your son, who's the biggest LeBron fan. You got to have Mike over here, who's the biggest LeBron fan. So here's the reality. People, I don't know if they knew the story before The Last Dance. That was an incredible series on ESPN. Yeah. It hit right. Even people who weren't Jordan fans, I think, enjoyed the series.
Right.
Whether you came out liking him more or not. But the guy was cut from his high school basketball team. Right? And so,
was it attitude or was it skill? I never knew. I've heard that same story, but
I don't know. But they probably go hand in hand a little bit. I'm sure that there's guys that we don't even know their name that never made it to the NBA or never even went to college, that grew up in some cities or somewhere we don't know. They're probably better than anybody we know. I bet there's some of those people. Right. Was it attitude? Was it I don't know.
Was it life? It could
have been life. Could have been a lot of things.
Around.
So I know this. It seemed like Jordan had good parents. Right? It seemed like they laid out a path that they wanted him to achieve things in life. That's what it seemed.
Yeah.
And so it seems like his coach in high school said his talent wasn't good enough to make the team. That's what it seemed. Whether it was his sophomore year or junior year, I forget what it was. Okay. I think that moment is the most defining moment in the life of Michael Jordan. Because something rose up inside of him that he wasn't willing to accept that opinion, wasn't willing to accept that defeat, and he started to design this life and this thing that Michael Jordan was going to become. Because here's what he said. I'm not going to accept that. Through his actions, that's what he said. How many kids that got cut from a team accepted it and just went on and did something else or played another sport? So then he made it to North Carolina. When he went to North Carolina, he wasn't the best player coming out of high school, right? So he went to North Carolina, and he continued to develop his skills. And what you hear about his work ethic. I'm sure some guys in the NBA have good work ethic, but a lot are just highly physically talented and skilled. They just are. Mm-hmm. And so you hear somebody like Vince Carter. That was touched on a little bit, I think, in The Last Dance. Right. He should have been better than a Jordan.
Right.
He should have been better maybe even than a LeBron, because everybody said he was the most naturally talented player. He just didn't have the work ethic.
Right.
And so I respect the fact that Jordan created this thing completely. Right? And you hear about the thousands of shots. I'm not saying LeBron doesn't take a lot of shots. But at 14 and at 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, people were already putting the crown on his head. Mm-hmm. They had already adorned him as the future, the next best thing, right? And so there was something. He
was identified.
And there was something already natural. His body had evolved, all these things. And so, honestly, I think it was easier for LeBron to get where he is now than it was for Jordan.
You're basing that on his physical statures.
Well, I'm just basing it on the same time period in Michael Jordan's life. People looked at him and said, you can't do this.
Right.
And I don't think LeBron James had that in his life.
He definitely didn't have that to overcome. I grew up with Jordan. I hated Michael Jordan because I was a Pacer fan.
Yep.
Reggie Miller, we couldn't get through. I'm a Pacer. I had season tickets. Mm-hmm. We never could get past Jordan. Just like being a Colts fan, Peyton would have 6 rings if it wasn't for a guy named Tom Brady. We happened to play in the same division for many years. Brady was the GOAT. Peyton beat him a few times, but at the end of the day, the GOAT wins a lot of rings, and Peyton gets a lot of. He's the second. He's second.
So maybe LeBron's Peyton, because LeBron definitely has gone 4 out of 10 in finals.
4 and 10.
I don't give a shit what the rest of it is. The reality is, he didn't make the people around him as good as Michael made Scottie. You can say Scottie was great.
Here's the deal: Jordan was 1 in 10 in the playoffs until Pippen came along. 1 in 10.
Yep.
Pippen doesn't come along. Jordan might be 1 in 20. He may not ever win one. I tell you this: I've always been, that argument with me has always been Jordan until you have kids and your kid grows up idolizing the person of his era, right? And that's LeBron James, right? So since Eli was, what's LeBron, 19? So Eli was born when LeBron was 18, 19, right? Just going into the pros.
This guy.
And so that's been his guy. So he obviously looked back, and you can research stuff now that we couldn't back in the day, right? And what has impressed me about LeBron, never met the man, watched him play many times live and on TV, is that somewhere parents, the group that surrounded him, they knew at a young age he was the next guy, right? At 14, 15, when he was in Cleveland, that area. But that guy has stayed as clean as you possibly can under a public eye, which blows me away.
He had the right people around him,
right?
Glenn.
But not you talk about surrounding yourself with good people.
Yep.
There's not a chink in that armor. There's not a scratch.
Here's the chink
on that car.
Here's the chink, and it's really unfortunate. Maybe this isn't who he is, but he acts like a baby on the basketball court. And here's the thing. So does everyone else. Now what the NBA has evolved to, you used to drive down the lane and know you were going to get crushed.
Right.
And you just accepted it.
You're okay with it.
Right? It just happened. And half the time the foul was called and half the time it wasn't. And you got up and you either sucker punched the guy or you got up and ran back down the court. Now, almost everybody in the NBA looks like someone just like killed their mother.
Unfortunately, he's adapted to the game that they're letting me play.
But here's what sucks.
I'm with you.
There's more that's expected where they receive more. If you're if you're the best and the greatest, you got to act like it. You don't get to act like the other guys. You don't get to cry on the court and like do this all the time and look at the ref. You know what you do? You suck it up. You accept the fouls because you go back and down the court and you dictate the game to the guys that you're better than.
It would no doubt it was a different game. I tell you this, I look at that. Could have LeBron played when they played back then?
Yeah.
He had the physical. He has the physical stat. He could have played with the bad boys and went up against him. I mean, that's the difference.
They would have beat him up, though. So would he had as many points? Don't know.
What is LeBron, 6'9"?
Yeah, 6'8", 6'9".
What is
he, 245,
The
250?
guy's a point guard, Mike.
I think he's 6'8", 260 or something like that.
6'8", 260. The guy's a point guard.
Linebacker.
The guy could be tight end and been the best ever. Michael couldn't play tight end. I'm telling you.
That's my point.
This guy is the most gifted athlete. And by the way, just because he's the most gifted doesn't mean he's going to be the best. The guy's got 4 rings. You ask me, and I would have never said this. Again, Eli. I mean, it's Eli's fault that I think this way now. But if that guy wins the 5th ring, he's going to hold every record. He's going to have the most. He's going to blow away every record Michael Jordan ever had. The guy, how many playoff games has he played in and won? I mean, it's in the 40s, 50s. I mean, he's going to. Yeah, the one thing Michael's got is he was 6-0 in the playoffs, or 6-0 in the championships, right? Mm-hmm. But
when the year they came back, they didn't win.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is. I don't know if you'll ever. I don't know if anybody's ever going to win this one. But I think, to me, up until the last few years, it was still Michael and LeBron. I think LeBron, if he wins one more for sure, you're going to talk about him. You're going to talk about him pretty equal. I don't think you can argue Michael, and I understand your reasons. I like
I just don't like LeBron.
Hey,
I just don't like him. There's a lot of things I don't like. And he could be the best guy. He can fund whatever school he wants to. I just don't like his persona. I don't.
Yeah,
he's an aggressive baby, is what I think he is.
Hey, I get it. I mean, I get why you don't. But I tell you, whether I don't like all of the things he does, I agree with you 100%. But the guy is a winner.
Really?
The guy is a winner. He makes people around him better.
Kyrie didn't think so.
I can tell
Kyrie
you
thought he was an asshole.
But then you got to look at Kyrie. I mean, has Kyrie won anything? Has
Kyrie
won anything?
The goal he's going to this year in Brooklyn.
Yeah, we'll see. When he wins, he can talk.
So what's going to happen if Kyrie and Durant beat LeBron? Tell me what that narrative is going to be.
You and I will lay some money out here right now. We'll throw $100 right. I'll take Lakers. You take the field.
The field.
You take the field. I take Lakers.
$100.
Yeah, $100. I got the Lakers. He's got the field right here.
Because of LeBron or because Anthony Davis is a badass? LeBron doesn't make better. Anthony's great.
I think they've upgraded. You know, they grabbed a few people. Who they grabbed from
Mike? Now he needs your help in this.
No, but they grabbed somebody from Atlanta or Houston or somebody.
They got Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
They
stud.
They need that.
Montrezl Harrell.
They
need that too.
Man of the year, right?
Yep.
Oh, they need that. He needs all those.
Kuzma just re-upped.
Kuzma re-signed.
He needs him too. He needs all of them.
I mean, the unibrow re-upped.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably better than they were last year. and dominated.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So I mean, it's his crown to lose. So when he wins that 5th, I'm gonna get my 100, and then the argument's never gonna be again.
No, it will be still who's best because they're not playing.
It'll
the
be
same time.
LeBron 1A, Jordan 1B.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. I've just never been called a winner in life when I win 4 out of 10.
That's a 4 out of 10. You got to get there 10 times. I tell you what, we talked about never quit. He never quit. He just keeps on coming.
Would you feel like a
He
winner
keep
if you
on
won
coming.
4 out of 10?
Hell yeah, man.
Would you really?
Yeah, I win 4 times. I'm not undefeated. I've lost. I'm still here. I'm still standing. That's what LeBron's saying. That's okay. I'm coming back,
I'm
man.
glad we found something we could disagree over.
I love it, man.
I love it. So
I appreciate you having me,
hey,
man.
man,
Merry Christmas to you guys.
You coming here, it's significant. So thanks for helping us, and I look forward
Absolutely.
to the next time.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks for everything you've done for me, man.
Yep, you're welcome,
Let's
man.
go to
Thank you.
life.
Congratulations on your success, and
Wow.
I look forward to following it, man.
We've just
I
started.
love it, man. I love it.
All right, man.
Mike, be good.
Peace out.
See you.